All right, you bunch of yahoos, strap yourselves in for another episode of Dan and Don's Toxic Masculinity.
In other words, shut up, sit up, and pay attention. And welcome back to another episode of Toxic Masculinity. I'm here with my co-hosts, none other than the master of all men. You know, the women that they melt in his hands, and we're not talking like milk duds or anything like that. We've got the Predator, Don Frye, and his co-host here, Dan Severn Toxic Masculinity. We're here to offend, defend anybody and everybody. These are simply our opinions. If you get your butt hurt, well, put on your man panties here and move along here right now. We're not here for the pussification of this world. We're here to try to make men men. And our special guest here today is none other than Frank Jasper, but I didn't really know him as Frank Jasper. I mean, when we were talking about the movie Vision Quest, I simply knew him as that character Shoots.
The dastardly evil character, you know, invincible. What? Yeah, you were. Come on, man. You're carrying a log on your shoulders up and down. You're just a bad dude. Shit. Now, do you do consultations over the telephone, or is it on the internet, or you know?
Yeah. So what I've been able to develop is I do my testing, what's called O-ring muscle testing or applied kinesiology. And it doesn't matter if they're in front of me or in another state. I can tune in and decide or test if they have any deficiencies. And that's why when I'm working with Nick Siriano, it's like he was in Arizona for some time, then he's back in Ann Arbor, Michigan. And so every time he would call me up and he goes, okay, this is where I'm at, what do I need? And I go through all these reflexes. And sometimes when you're training, you know, you deplete your adrenals. Most of the time, that's one of the number one thing. Sometimes you have to really support the heart muscle that people don't even pay attention to that. It's a muscle. It's being challenged. You need to do it. Actually, if you run a marathon, there's a certain amount of damage that happens to your heart because you're challenging it beyond its capacity many times. So these nutrients and these reflexes will tell me what the body needs. So I'll check in on their protein levels, their electrolyte levels. I'll go through every one of their organ reflexes.
Just by having them do an exercise, you assess them?
Just by me checking. Well, of course I do. I send out an intake form. They fill out everything, so they give me feedback, so I see what's going on for them. But then I sit in my office. This is what I developed over 27 years, is a way to test. It's a muscle testing way that I can check their reflexes, their nutritional needs.
So they don't take a blood sample and send you a blood sample.
Don't need your blood, brother.
It's just all visual.
It's all energetic. It's all energetic, and it's all nutritional support for those reflexes that the body will be weak. So the body's an electric system. And so if it's kind of like your electrical system in a house. If you plug in too many, places into a socket, that'll blow a fuse or blow a breaker. Yeah. Right. So then if I challenge your body when you're in my office, I'll touch a reflex on your system and your body. And if then I muscle test, and if it goes weak, that means your body can't handle that challenge. That's considered a challenge. Anything you have, even like taking in lemon juice is a challenge to your body. Did you know that?
No.
That's how you can test your adrenal strength. This is what I had people do, that when they came into my office, I wanted to find out if they're depleted, if I wanted to show them they were depleted instead of me just muscle testing. There's a way to do that with a small amount of lemon juice. You do a pre-test with a pH strip. So you're testing the acidity of the saliva in your mouth. So you check that. Then you tell them to take the lemon juice, swirl it around their mouth, swallow it. 1 minute later, you test the strip again, and it's gone from like 6.8 to 7.0, which is about where you want to be saliva-wise in the beginning, and it'll shoot up. It'll get more alkaline because your body is trying to respond to this acidic. So it'll take it up. And that's your body's response to a stress on your system. And when you have a stress on your system, your adrenals kick in. You produce, adrenaline. And that's how you wrestle, you lift, you fight, all that's built on adrenaline. So if you deplete that body, you deplete that adrenaline, the adrenals get too challenged over and over and again. You deplete some of the what's called the buffering system, that after you spike it from the challenge, the buffering system brings it back down to neutral, to zero. So when you take your lemon juice, it's acidic, but your body responds by creating alkalinity because it's a stressor. So you go into an alkali state, which is fight or flight in your sympathetic dominance, system. And then your buffering system is what brings it back out. You know what the buffering system is? Minerals. What are minerals? Minerals are electrolytes. So when these guys do these workouts and then they go, oh, I got to get my sugar back, my glycogen back in my body. So they eat all these high sugar foods to regain their glycogen debt. What they're missing is they've depleted their electrolytes, and they're much more important than your sugar content that you need to bring back in. This is what kills me. I don't know if you've seen all these energy drinks, but if you look at them, they're high fructose corn syrup primarily, right? When you look at them,
right?
They're like, and then you got a bunch of electrolytes and a bunch of chemicals and food coloring and all that stuff in there. It's a bunch of junk. As far as I'm concerned, you can have super clean electrolytes. You can have super clean amino acids to support you afterwards. And so what you got to do is you've got to replenish the electrolytes. If you don't have electrolytes, you don't have your minerals, you can't absorb nutrients. You can't have any energy at the ATP level. So in order to absorb a vitamin C or a vitamin A, you have to have a mineral that catalyzes that, creates an energy so your body can utilize it. And if you take minerals and you put a drop of that on your finger, it'll sit there because it has energy, it has cohesion, it'll hold that drop on the end of your finger. Unless you're completely depleted, then your body will try to absorb it right through your skin. I had a patient that was a cancer patient, and she was getting all sorts of chemo, and they completely wiped out her electrolytes because I put that on her finger and just ran down. I couldn't even leave one drop on her finger. So the way I demonstrate that to my patients is I put a drop on their finger and I have them touch their tongue to that drop. And it's like a 9-volt battery. It goes zzz on the end of their tongue.
Really?
And that tells you that's catalyst. It's called a catalytic effect in the body. It creates energy. And if you don't have that, you're not going to be able to produce ATP. You're not going to be able to utilize your vitamins, et cetera, et cetera.
So are we talking drink Gatorade, or are we talking something more?
So Gatorade has the concept perhaps right. It's got electrolytes in there, but it's too dense for your body to utilize at that density. So you need to, like in our athletic training program, we were said you need to dilute that 4-to-1, 4 parts water, 1 part Gatorade. Now I don't like Gatorade in general, just because
too much
you
sugar.
read the ingredients. They're not sponsoring me, so I got to hate on them a little bit. So you read the ingredients. Can you pronounce anything? Is any of that natural? Other than high fructose corn syrup and any of the other names and the whatever food coloring they're using for whatever green or blue or red, that is another thing that is a problem, and so this is something to kind of to look at as you look at these professional athletes and you wonder, these guys are better trained than we ever were when we were young, and how come they are always injured? Are they just such pansies? No, these guys are being given these high fructose corn syrup drinks, and what happens when you have too much sugar in your system? It will fill up your liver, fill up the muscle. Then the excess sugar in your body is looking for receptor sites. The receptor sites that it likes are protein receptor sites. That means your muscles. So when it finds a receptor site that it likes, it locks on, and it creates this rigid bond. Now you have a rigid bond in your muscle. You have too much sugar in your system. Excess sugar is going to be stored as fat. So whatever it can't find a bond, then it's going to store as fat and cause inflammation throughout the system. It feeds bacteria, viruses, cancers. I actually wrote an article on how it actually feeds cancer. So you people on high sugar diets, high carb diets, they could also be feeding the cancers in their body. It suppresses your immune system, suppresses your hormones. It's 94% more addictive than cocaine or heroin. Sugar is.
Wow.
But we depend on it way too much in our professional sports.
All kinds of foods, drinks that they put sugar into all the time. I mean, it's where it's like when you eat plain food or more natural food in its natural state. Yeah, it's a whole lot better for you. I want to take a little bit different direction there, but
Okay.
like bodybuilders.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that I know about like bodybuilders that they had this clean diet all the way up to these, they got their weigh-ins and stuff like that. They're there, but now when they're getting ready to go on stage, I've heard all these stories of all the junk that they put in because it makes their veins, it makes their muscles, pop. And again, that's where can you elaborate about that just a little bit? What they go from being so strict, so good to where it's not like they're like garbaging down almost on some stuff.
Yeah, no, it's one of the most unhealthy sports on some level, because these guys have to do nothing but eat to gain the weight, and then they get ready to contest, and then they just cut, and then they do some of these crazy things to make their skin, to make the veins pop out. Like they'll have shots, or they'll have high sugar content, and they'll use drugs, they'll use diuretics to get the water out, and then they'll hit something along with that to make their veins pop. So there's people that have died from that, and it's just again, there's got to be a smart way to do it. I've been out of that for 30 years. I thank God that Vision Quest made me drop weight 3 times, because after that I never went back to bodybuilding. And if you're going to be a bodybuilder, yeah, you think it's healthy. Well, listen, folks, you're going to have to be on some pretty heavy, hardcore, steroids to maintain that body. There's a few natural lifters, good luck, but you're never going to see those natural lifters win at like the Olympia or one of those major events. It's all going to be based on steroid use. And so there you go. As far as, their diet is pretty clean. They really watch what they have, but they're also doing steroids, which are damaging their livers and possibly other things as well.
All right, let me jump. All right.
Jump.
What about those alkaline waters? Where they add alkali to the water, the 9.0 or 8.5% alkaline.
Yeah. I have a machine that I really love, and it's got 2 pre-filters and that take out the arsenic, lead, nickel, all the heavy metals, fluoride. It takes all that out of the water. And then it's got 2 other internal filters to continue to clean water that is just municipal water. It goes across a titanium plate that activates and puts an extra
A Kangen?
It's like a Kangen, but it's not. I don't use Kangen because they're an MLM, and their price of their machine is about double what the machine that I recommend, which is Life Ionizers. And Life Ionizers, I've had one for over 15 years that we just had it refurbished, and Nick is using it now, Nick Suriano. And that is one of the biggest keys, because there's 4 different forms of water. There's liquid, there's ice, which is hard, there's gas, and there's structured. And that allows structured water, actually allows you to do an intracellular exchange. So you can actually hydrate on an intracellular level, and the extra hydrogen on the cell or the wall, the water molecule, acts as a free radical scavenger. So now you've got an antioxidant. Now you've got better hydration on a cellular level, and that thing is really important for the athletes. Hydration, we're at 70, 80% water, absolutely important. What they make a mistake doing is they'll have alkaline water at dinner, with a meal, because what you're doing is now you're going to alkalize your gut. When my stomach is supposed to be acidic, you drink a really high alkaline water with a meal, you're going to just completely alkalize your gut. So then it's not going to break your food down. Now you're not going to get the nutrients, and it's supposed to go acid stomach, and then it comes out of the next, then it becomes alkaline, and it goes back and forth throughout your intestines. And if it doesn't have that in your gut, it's not going to break down. Now it's not going to have the ability to be utilized in the intestines at the, at that level. You're just not going to absorb nutrients because it's going to go blow right through there. So don't drink. This is what I want to say. Don't drink out super high alkaline water at meals. I like a little bit higher alkaline water when I work out, because what are you doing? You're producing lactic acid. So it can counter that. And I'll also include amino acids. I'll also include electrolytes. I'll also include some green tea and maybe a small amount of Manuka honey, so that I get the glycogen debt while I'm working out, get the amino acids while I'm working out, I get the electrolytes while I'm working out. I don't wait until that post window where everybody says, oh, you've got this magical window where you need to absorb certain things. That's when you want to take your proteins. Well, it takes an hour and a half for you to break down and utilize your protein. You miss the window.
What about if you during your meal, what if you have in your glass of water, if you just add, I don't know, maybe just a little bit of apple cider vinegar because of the acidicness, would that be something good? Would that be something that you'd recommend, to have a little bit more of acids for the breaking down of the meal that you're taking on in? But then maybe later on, a couple hours later, because I know that by taking like baking soda, putting that in your water, it throws the alkalinity way up to where now your meal is a couple hours, you're past it. Hopefully things should all be broken down. Would you, yay, nay, what's your thoughts on something like that?
They talk about putting in the baking soda in your morning drink will help you kind of, supercharge your metabolism. That's one thing. I've heard that understanding that, you can use apple cider vinegar to help with your blood sugar handling. That's what I would use that primarily. I have digestive enzymes that I use for specific purposes. There's ones that are built. Some people do not have the ability to break down carbohydrates. Other people don't know how to break down proteins. And then there's one that is a combination of the two, plus a little glutamine, which will help with the tight junctions in the gut. So I have digestive enzymes, and as you get older, you just don't produce that enough digestive enzymes. That's why as we get older, we have tendency not to eat as much, or not really to break down then what we eat. So we start losing muscle mass. So we want to, as we get older, want to have better digestive enzymes. You can do things to stimulate your enzyme production, like some of the ginger and peel, some like orange peels and stuff like that are in like bitters. If you've had bitters before, that's the reason that bitters were invented a long time ago, is to activate and stimulate your own digestive juices to be produced. So I'm a big fan of having digestive enzymes, with each meal. I'll go, some days I won't, some days I will. But if I'm having a big meal, then I always will. If I usually try and stay away from gluten, not that Dan ate a whole gluten thing before we started, but pizza's a monster, and it's hard to break down because it's got several of what I call pro-inflammatory foods, and then 8 pro-inflammatory foods. Let's start there. Gluten, soy, dairy, corn, peanuts. Some people have problems with eggs, artificial sweeteners, and sweeteners. When I used to do blood tests, this is what I did. Yeah, you gotta get rid of the peanuts.
One of my big snacks all the time is just having I like just having peanuts all the time, just for a snack.
Switch to almonds, walnuts, macadamia nuts, much better choice. Walnuts have the highest essential fatty acid, omega-3s.
Good for your heart, right? Too, walnuts.
Walnuts good for the heart. So It's a healthy fat. It has a healthy fat. The reason peanuts usually is because they have aflatoxin. Now, even if they're organic. So you want to take some aflatoxin in, go ahead and have your peanuts, enjoy them. But if you want to do better, I'd say almonds are a little bit better. Macadamia nuts, walnuts, better choices.
How about cashews?
Cashews are just don't have a lot of nutrients in them.
Yeah. Okay.
Just they really don't. So I don't. It's like have a snack. It's like, man, I'll have a white banana. It's like usually the white foods to try and avoid.
Yeah,
white sugar, white flour, white potatoes.
I think you touched on a subject that allergies. I think I'm allergic to buffets. I tend to break out in fat.
You get violent too while you're in there. You get really violent. Just trying
Yeah.
to.
I go say don't.
Get away! I'm gonna get my.
Get out of my way. Get out of my way. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So when I would do my seminars, for your recertification, I would go to these different seminars, and they would do buffets. Man, if I had one piece of bread, or if I had pasta, when second half, I'd be there. That all of a sudden, and it just knocks me out. I just go down for the count. If I just have vegetables and protein, salad, I'm wide awake.
Yeah. Well, that naughty day that you did right there. Usually that's me at Thanksgiving time with all that turkey meat into me because it has
tryptophan.
Yes, exactly. So that's sleep agent. So I always tell people that after that big turkey meal, I'm on the couch pretending I'm watching that big football game. I'm snoring is what I'm doing. I'm asleep.
You got everybody fooled. You got those glasses with the eyeballs on them, so everybody's.
No, really, very educational there. I really enjoyed this, just this whole talk there.
Now, how much is a session with you?
So right now, because I've gotten a lot of offers recently, and I'm gonna have to kind of see where I can go with it and how much I can do. But right now, I'm charging $200 for the first session. It's an hour and a half or an hour, and then follow-ups every 2 weeks. And that's about $100 for between 15 and 30 minutes to recheck the doses, check in on the person, see how they're doing, see what's happening in their sleep cycle, see if they're keeping up with everything that I'm asking them to do. Is there anything else we need to add? Is there anything we need to take away? That's what those are designed to do.
Very good.
So I'm very affordable. I'm not insane yet, but if things happen the way they're looking like, I'm going to have very limited time. And
after you've been on our show, you're
this is it. This is going to be a big breakout moment.
You're gone, buddy. Yeah.
Well,
you're the new Elon Musk.
You can talk to my assistant.
Yes,
I'm too busy. Of course.
Yes.
Very well.
Well, again, let's plug. Okay, the t-shirts that you're wearing right now. You said you can get that at shootshirts.com. Shoot SHUTE shirts SHIRTS.com. Correct.
That's correct.
And then you said then if you're interested in to reach you there for any kind of health questions, if they'd like to simply get your services. Again, it's Osani at osanihealth.com. But you said it again. Make sure that you spell it correctly because I don't know if I wrote it down correctly for you.
It's OSANI, Osani.
Osani at osanihealth.com.
That's it, bro.
And it means love.
It means love, baby. Gotta give the
miss.
love.
My little big miss. I love you, baby. Otherwise, I'll kill you. With a poison dart.
That's my stuff. I kill you. Call me Francis. I'll kill you.
Yeah, the poison, the Cupid with the poison dart.
For the pygmies here right now. Pygmy was with love. Yeah. So,
yeah.
Don, any other last minute questions right there for Mr. Frank Jasper?
Well, hell, I could go into all kinds of different other aspects right now because I love talking nutrition. We're talking wrestling. We're talking just basically again. Here we go. The aging person right now. Those seniors, anyone over that 50 years of age. What are your feelings about HGH, human growth hormone?
So there's 10 natural ways to activate your HGH levels. So I would say, be working on those. Anytime you do an external source, exogenous source that's coming in, it can feed lots of things you don't want it to feed. Tumors, cancers, things of that nature. So you have to be very mindful if you're going to go on HGH that the dose is not too high, and you have to really be monitored, be really smart. I like things that actually stimulate your own body's HGH production. There's a product I use called Somaderm. I think that's one of the best things out there. It's a topical. It goes right through the skin. It activates and stimulates your own production. You can do intermittent fasting. You can do HIIT training. You can do squats, presses. I should say squats, cleans. I'm trying to think there was 3 different basic movements there are heavy movements that, you know, you definitely have to use your legs in. You can do deadlifts, squats, and cleans. Those will also activate your HGH. I get concerned because people like to try and put too much weight, they lose form. And when they do a CrossFit, they push themselves so far that they lose form. That's when you're going to injure yourself. So if you're in CrossFit, please hear me. Do your best, be competitive, don't lose your form. You know, it'll save your shoulder, your knee, your back at some point.
Now, why do you do those exercises? Because of the power, you know, that you have to use for it, or?
So when you have to engage your legs, your quads primarily, you engage large muscle groups in the body. When you activate that, then it activates your HGH production. So that's one reason. Okay. You can also do it with a sauna. If you do, if you do a sauna, an hour a day, twice a day for 4 days, and then it starts to increase your HGH production by at least 4 times.
Why is that?
So it's just the fact that your body's being challenged and it's trying to recover from that and from the heat, and it just stimulates it. Your body ends up going into the, let's regenerate, and so that's when it starts producing the HGH. You can also do like I said, HIIT training, which is like high intensity training, that will also activate your HGH levels. And there's a window of about from 10 to 12 midnight. That's when you produce most of your HGH, and then it'll surge on and off throughout the night. So sleeping at the right times, getting enough sleep, 7 to 9 hours of sleep every night is key.
Okay. Do you actually abide by that one? I mean, you told me about all the work you were doing before, that you're working 2 different jobs, and you guys, you only had a window for maybe 5 or 6 hours of sleep, period.
So that's when I was falling apart, when your body doesn't get the right amount of sleep. This could be a whole this could be a whole conversation, an hour plus. Every little bit of sleep that you get and you're not getting will have an impact. Even if you miss 1 hour, they actually have shown that if you go to daylight savings time, when they lose the hour, there's an increase of heart attacks. And then when they jump back to get that extra hour, there's a reduction of heart attacks in general. That's the greatest study that's ever been done. It proves that just even missing 1 hour of sleep, quality sleep, can be harmful. So what do I try and do? I try and get the 7 to 9 every night. Doesn't happen every night, but like when I'm traveling, I'm doing events. Sometimes I don't sleep well. Sometimes I stay up late. It's, I have to recover, but it's important. If you can get 7 to 9, you're doing good.
Well, we might have to, Don, we may have to bring back Frank on another session just to go into another segment right here. But again, hopefully that this kicks loose a lot more people that become aware that a lot of things that you could do naturally.
Does a nap in the afternoon count?
Counts for me.
Yeah.
I do better in the afternoon. So sometimes that, 20-minute nap, if you go too long, then it can be detrimental. But there was an understanding that if you get 20 minutes at a pop, that's really beneficial. So you can do those. I actually have patients do a 20-minute adrenal pose twice a day to regenerate their adrenals, help to reset their central nervous system. And it's just doing nothing but laying flat on your back, legs at 90 degrees, shins at 90 degrees from that. Like, just put pillows under your legs, lay on your back, breathe from your belly, and just say, this is me breathing in. This is me breathing out for 20 minutes. Wow. That resets the whole system.
Yeah, I know that my back gets real bad. I'll just go lay down. I'll call it 10 minutes, but it ends up being about 20.
Set your alarm. If you do more than 20, then you can start to get a little fatigued from a nap sometimes. But 20 minutes is the key. That's kind of the key number for the naps.
Yeah, but I'm not even
a little bit longer.
I'm not even falling asleep. I'm just laying down for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Even
if you don't fall asleep, you just lay down for 20 minutes and breathe in your lower abdomen. You'll see big benefits.
Okay, yeah, because that's helped my back, throughout the whole time.
Because what it does is it decompresses the low back, and so it lets the fluid to kind of flow. And so if you can raise your legs and get that pressure off, adjust the pelvis just a little, it kind of drops back, so you get a nice clean flow through there. Now you're getting circulation again. As soon as you stand up, you're compressing things, you're compacting things. You know, there's tightness and those nerves are getting pinched and pinged. So you got to lay on your back, let them breathe, baby.
Well, what about the upside down gimmick then?
So
Inversion
I
table.
just, so you can do one of those inversion tables. I just don't like the concept of hanging from my ankles from the conversion tables, because that means then the ligaments in my ankles will stretch, the ligaments in my knees will stretch, and I only want the low back. So I have this thing that I've got a pull-up bar, but I've hung one of those silk things that you see Cirque du Soleil do their tricks on.
You're talking a sex cage, aren't you?
Yeah, that's right. So you know. So Cirque du Soleil has these silk things that they stretch one direction but not the other. So you sit on that, you put it in your low back, and then you can lay back, put your legs up, and now you're hanging from your hips, your pelvis. You're not hanging from your ankles. You're not hanging from your knees. I just get concerned when you hang too long, because if you're opening up your low back, you're also stretching those ligaments and ankles and knees, and you don't want to do that. Good enough?
Good enough.
All right.
Thank you. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, it's a good thing you ate that pizza, man. We rocked.
Hell yeah.
2.5 hours.
Yeah. Well, that and the beer and the cigar, you know. So.
There you go. You got to get. By the way, do you know that if you ever want to just have pure, just good nicotine that's healthy?
Yeah.
You can, smoking a cigar. I used to smoke cigars. I really enjoyed the cigar, and I can see you do. But if you're trying to cut down on that, but you still want to get the nicotine, there's a company called Lucy, LUCY.co, just Lucy Co. And they give you different amounts. They give you in different forms of nicotine, but it's super clean. No junk, no toxins, anything like that. They have lozenges, they have little pouches, they have gum.
Wow, that'd be good
So
for an
check
airplane.
that out.
Be good for an airplane ride across the ocean, huh?
Exactly. Well, I'll show you real quick. So there's the company. It's just a real simple Lucy.
Yeah.
Go. Lucy. There it is. There's a chewing gum.
Wow.
This one's got pomegranate. They've got mint ones. They've got, this is the cutting edge. These guys are super clean.
Well,
Putting my patients on that are trying to quit smoking. It's also, by the way, Don, it's nicotine is considered a nootropic, which means it makes your brain function better.
Right.
Really?
Do you ever drink coffee with your cigars or no?
Yes.
So there's this balance between caffeine and nicotine.
Yeah.
So my dad, and I'll tell you a story, and then I got to go. My dad was a 2-pack a day, Pall Mall studs, no filters, and a quart of coffee a day. I never saw him drink a glass of water my entire life. Yeah. But at one point, he decided he wanted to quit smoking, and he did. And he had like a minor heart attack. He says, that was because I quit smoking. And nobody believed him, right? Then I go to my chemistry class and when I'm studying to become a master's of Oriental medicine. And one of the things they say is that they balance each other out. So if you're having nicotine, caffeine will bring that into balance. And if you're having caffeine, nicotine will bring that into balance. So if you're missing one of those, so he was missing the nicotine, but he was still drinking the caffeine.
Right.
So he was getting jacked up and his heart was the nicotine would bring that down. So he was right. Who knew?
Yeah. Well,
The reason he got a heart attack was because he quit smoking.
Well, them old people knew shit that we didn't understand. They had it down.
So now, and also caffeine's a nootropic. So you got caffeine and nicotine.
Right.
So anyway, check that out. Let me know how that goes for you, brother.
All right, partner. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll throw a little wrap up here. Okay. This concludes another episode of Toxic Masculinity, where we had our special guest here, Mr. Frank Jasper, who we knew from the movie Vision Quest as the character known as shoots. So, but
you want to wrestle shoot?
Nobody wants to wrestle shoot.
Yes, a movie actor, but I think we spent a lot more time basically talking about nutrition and bodybuilding, and there's all kinds of other cool things. If you want to reach out, looking at for his the t-shirts that he has, he's got shootshirts.com, SHUTE shirts.com. And if you want to learn more about health and nutrition, you can reach him through the Osani at osanihealth.com. Osani spelled OSANI at osanihealth.com. And Osani means love. Do I have to make that little heart symbol here right now?
Please don't. I hate that. That irritates me more than anything.
Yeah. Frank, I've really enjoyed tonight, just having this opportunity to speak with you and just elaborate more about your career. But then also, again, I'm actually picking your mind the way Don was picking your mind for, health-wise and stuff like that. What should we be doing? What should we not be doing, especially at ages? And what is our intentions? What we want to do with the better health and things of that nature? Because everybody wants to live as long as possible, and you want to have good health while you're living. Simply sitting around and drooling down your chin is not what I want to do.
I know. So, and you guys are on it, man. You're on it with the stem cells. That's the fountain of youth. That's a great thing to be putting through your system. I think they could have done that instead of vaccines to some degree. Now, don't put that out there, but okay.
Yeah,
but Mr. Frank,
you're giving false information. They're going to get the truth seminar doctor or whatever it is. After you,
they'll put you on the rack there. They have to re-educate you there.
They'll pull my license.
Yeah. Well, Mr. Frank Jasper, really appreciate you being on tonight's episode. So hopefully we didn't take you too long, so that the better half is not angry at you or us here in the process, because there's always a higher power that we all have to answer to.
Yeah.
All right.
Go do your dusting, your vacuuming, your dishes, and clean the toilets. Say hi to the wife for us. Thank you for watching another episode of Dan and Don's Toxic Masculinity. You better like, subscribe, and share, or I'm going to come to your house.